Hi, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be looking at operations on functions. Before we get into operations on functions, I want to talk about functions in general. So I'm going to start with the function f of x equals x squared minus 4. We can think of functions like a simple machine. We have an input that is x, and so we're going to take x values and input them into the function. Some rule will be applied to them inside the function, and when they come out, we will get f of x values on the output. So in this particular case, x values will go in, those x values will be squared, and then 4 will be subtracted from that, and that value will be the output. There are no restrictions on what we can put into x. However, there might be restrictions on what can come out of x based on the operation that's being applied. If we look at the function g of x, we have something similar. We have x values that go in. These values will be doubled, and then 1 will be added to those. And what we get out will be g of x values. So we want to keep these simple machines in mind when we're looking at operations on functions. So we have 4 operations on functions we're going to look at in this video. The first is addition, then subtraction, multiplication, and division. So addition of functions is written as f plus g of x. Another way of writing this is f of x plus g of x. In this case, we have our simple machine f of x, or our simple machine f and our simple machine g. So the same input is going to go into f and g. We're going to get an output and then add them together. So f of x is x squared minus 4. G of x is 2x plus 1. So I'm just adding these two together, and I get x squared plus 2x minus 3 as the addition of f of x and g of x, giving me f plus g of x. Looking at subtraction, this is really similar. I have f minus g. In this case, this becomes f of x minus g of x. So I take the same input into both my f and my g functions. I get their individual outputs, and then I subtract the g output from the f output. So for f of x, this becomes x squared minus 4. For g of x, this becomes 2x plus 1. So this is x squared minus 4. I need to remember to distribute that negative in, giving me minus 2x minus 1, giving me x squared minus 2x minus 5 is equal to f minus g of x. Looking at multiplication of functions, f times g of x. Again, we can look at this similarly as the function f of x times g of x. So again, I put the same x value into both f and g. I get their outputs, and in this case, I'm going to multiply them. So in this case, I get f of x is x squared minus 4. G of x is 2x plus 1. So now I need to multiply them. I have binomial multiplied by a binomial, so I'm going to FOIL this. So I get x squared times 2x is 2x cubed. X squared times 1 is plus x squared. Negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. This can't be simplified at all because I have an x cubed, x squared, x, and constant. So this is f times g of x. Division works the same way. I put the same x value into each of my functions. I get their outputs, and I take my f and divide it by g. So this becomes f of x divided by g of x, giving me x squared minus 4 divided by 2x plus 1. A little bit later on, we're going to talk about values that are excluded from this, because if we remember the rules of math, the denominator can never be equal to 0. We're not allowed to divide by 0, so we're actually going to have some restrictions here. But that is just as simple as it is. In our next video, we're going to look at whether or not these properties are commutative.